Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear and see me well?
kakita ko og kadonggok ni mo.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How are you?
Ah,
Yama-san,
oh,
kumusta?
okay, Rako, and I feel happy because can you see my partner's clothes?
Oh,
she
yes.
she is staying at my flat for five days
Oh,
from yesterday night.
I see. So, is it like a planned stay over or what is it? Will you
Uh,
go on a trip?
Yes, no. Staying at my flat, basically staying at my
Mm.
flat, and we have two events to go out with.
Oh, oh, really? What
Yes.
kind of events? Concerts? I
Uh,
remember last time you went to a concert.
thank you for remembering about concerts.
Uh-huh.
Today's this event too.
Mm, mm.
We going to a concert that my partner love my partner lovely artists.
Oh, okay. Wow. So I hope you enjoy your event together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sophia,
Mm,
may I shoot today's lesson? May I shoot this lesson and share the video with my friends? May I do it?
sure. Yeah.
Thank you. And one more thing. I
Mm,
have something to ask you.
mm,
Wait a minute. Copy my
sure.
minute. Okay. Uh, 네.
Mm,
I have updated my request
mm,
for lesson on 2022 March 16. I'd
mm.
like you. Did I share what tell you before?
I think you didn't share, but I read your note before in your account. So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Again, Padayon, I read these sentences.
mm,
I would like you to respond to this request in the future, but now, how about it? Please be sure to write the updated lesson progress of reading part in the message that is sent by a teacher you to a student a few minutes after the lesson is over, not now. Even if teachers didn't do a 5 minute reading part of the whole 5 minute 25 minutes lesson. Especially make a note. Here is a
mm,
specific example of a message sent by a teacher to a student a few minutes after the lesson. Uh, Circle is good,
mm,
means good,
mm,
and cross is not good.
mm-hmm,
Below
mm-hmm,
lesson ID blah blah blah. For example, lesson ID blah
mm-hmm,
blah blah. Content color method, color codes
mm-hmm,
color method.
mm-hmm,
Question and answer stage 11 blah blah blah. New work.
mm-hmm,
A point. I point this part.
mm-hmm,
Reading circle is good.
mm-hmm,
I hope to write this.
mm-hmm,
11 blah 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 blah. If we do not the reading part.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I am trouble. I mind none.
mm-hmm,
None is bad
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
if teachers can write both none and the updated lesson progress of reading part, that is the best.
mm.
The second best is if teachers can write only none or updated lesson progress. Please copy and paste updated lesson progress from the latest information. That is the last reading part. Last reading part.
Okay, I understand your point. So you want me to fill out everything.
Everything.
Even if, for
Yes.
example, we didn't do the reading, you
I
want me to still fill it out, for
Yes.
example, only.
That's right.
Okay, no problem. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Thank you for
clarifying.
understanding.
No problem. So, anyways,
Mm.
would you like to start?
Oh, of course. I want to start.
Yeah, sure. So I'd like to confirm that your progress is
Mm.
stage 12,
Okay.
1153.
Mm.
Soul was the last word. Is it right?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's have the daily revision. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Already not cool.
Oh, that's good. So let's start. What meaning can the prefix this add to a word? What meaning can the prefix this add to a word? The prefix
The
this
prefix
can
this
add the
can add the
meaning,
meaning
reverse, or
reverse
opposite of
opposite
to a
of
word.
to a word.
Give me an example, please. Give an example, please. I
I
disconnected
disconnected my laptop from the network.
If you're dissatisfied,
If you were dissatisfied
with the service,
with the service, you should
complain.
complain.
What meaning can the prefix semi add to a word? What meaning can the prefix semi add to a word? The
The prefix semi can add the meaning
partly or half, partly
partly or half
or
to
half
a
to a
word.
word. Give me an example, please. Give an example, please. The children
The
sat
children sat
in a semicircle,
in a semicircle
and listened
while
their teacher
their
read
teacher
the story.
About the story. Read the story.
Mhm. Make a sentence with the verb mumble, please. Make a sentence with the verb mumble, please. The speech he made
at the wedding
was awful.
was awful.
He kept mumbling.
He kept mumbling.
Make a sentence with the verb mutter, please. Make a sentence with the verb mutter, please. The old man
The old man in front of me in the supermarket
queue
in the supermarket queue
was muttering
was
himself
himself about the high prices.
Have you ever lain in bed at night feeling terrified because you thought the building you were in was haunted? Have you ever lain in bed at night feeling terrified because you thought the building you were in was haunted? Yes, no.
Yes.
I have lain in
bed at night
feeling terrified
because I thought the building I was in
haunted.
was haunted.
Do you have a favorite haunt where you tend to hang out with your friends? Do you have a favorite haunt where you tend to hang out with your friends? Yes, no.
Yes.
I have a favorite haunt
where I tend to hang out with my friends.
Where?
It's on the back street of Shibuya, Japan, and it's a cute restaurant like a hideaway.
Oh, good. What do we mean when we say that we lingered over dinner at a restaurant? What do we mean when we say that we lingered over dinner at a restaurant? When we say that we lingered over dinner at a restaurant, we mean
we took longer than usual to eat our dinner, probably because we wanted to savor the food and the atmosphere.
Which do you think are more effective at preventing sunlight penetrating into a room? Shutters or curtains? Which do you think are more effective at preventing sunlight penetrating into a room? Shutters or curtains? I think
shutters
are more
effective at preventing sunlight penetrating into a room.
Would you be tolerant of a flatmate who left the kitchen in chaos every time they cooked? Would you be tolerant of a flatmate who left the kitchen in chaos every time they cooked? Yes, no.
No.
I wouldn't
be tolerant about a flatmate who left the kitchen
in chaos
every time they cooked.
Would your friends describe you as an intolerant person? Would your friends describe you as an intolerant person? Yes, no.
Yes.
My friend
describe me as an intolerant person.
When traveling, do you prefer a large and spacious suitcase or a more compact form of luggage, such as a backpack? When traveling, do you prefer a large, spacious suitcase or a more compact form of luggage, such as a backpack? When traveling,
I prefer a large and
spacious
suitcase.
What's another name for backpack? Another name for
a backpack is rucksack.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Please wait. Do you think it's important to have a stable job? Yes, no.
Yes.
I think
it's important to have a stable job.
Why?
Because I think that investing in an unstable and challenging job while having a stable job will lead to a fulfilling life.
Good. Why are loose stones on the road more of a hazard for motorbikes than for cars? Why are loose stones on the road more of a hazard for motorbikes than for cars? Loose stones
on the road
are more of a
hazard for
motorbikes than for cars. Because
motorbikes are less stable than cars.
And therefore,
loose stones could cause them to have an accident.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
On hot summer's day, is it nice to have a breeze to keep you cool? On a hot summer's day, is it nice to have a breeze to keep you cool? Yes. On a hot summer's day, it's nice to have a breeze to keep you cool. If there was a drought in your bedroom, what could you do to resolve the problem? If there was a drought in your bedroom, what could you do to resolve the problem? If there was
If there was a drought
in my
bedroom, I could insert a clothes into the gap between the doorways, use more blankets, etc.
Okay, good. When one borrows money from a bank, why should one endeavor to pay off the loan as soon as possible? When one borrows money from a bank, why should one endeavor to pay off the loan as soon as possible? When one borrows money
from a bank,
one should
endeavor to pay off the loan as soon as possible,
so that
one doesn't end up paying
lots of interest. If you toss a coin twice, what's the probability of getting two tails? If you toss a coin twice, what's the probability of getting two tails? If you toss a coin twice, the probability of getting two tails is 25%. Give me a sentence with the word thereby. Give me a sentence with the word thereby. He didn't know
how to answer,
thereby
making it appear that he was guilty.
When someone becomes famous, why do the press often try to find out whether they have a skeleton in the cupboard? When someone becomes famous, why do the press often try to find out whether they have a skeleton in the cupboard? When someone becomes famous,
the press often try to find out
whether
they have a skeleton in the cupboard because the public love to hear about famous people's secrets.
If a case of negligent driving results in a pedestrian's death, does a crime, in your view, merit imprisonment? If a case of negligent driving results in a pedestrian's death, does a crime, in your view, merit imprisonment? Yes, no?
Yes.
If a case of
negligent driving
results in
a pedestrian's death,
in my view,
the crime merits imprisonment.
What do we mean if we say that two countries are allies in a war? What do we mean if we say that two countries are allies in a war? If we said
the three countries are allies
in a war,
we mean they fight alongside each other against a common enemy.
When you get home, do you normally just dump your jacket on a chair rather than hang it up? When you get home, do you normally just dump your jacket on a chair rather than hang it up? Yes, no?
No.
When I get home,
I don't normally just dump my jacket on a chair.
I
always hang it up.
What do we have to do if we want to get rid of a large household item, such as an old bed or mattress? What do we have to do if we want to get rid of a large household item, such as an old bed or mattress? If we want to get rid of a large household, get rid of a large household item, such as an old bed or mattress,
we have to take it to our local dump.
What do we mean if we say that something is bound to happen? What do we mean if we say that something is bound to happen? If we say
that something is bound to happen,
we mean
that as a result of previous experience
or
particular knowledge
that we have,
we presume that it will happen.
Give me an example, please. Give an example, please. He's bound to
arrive in a minute.
He's never been late.
He's never been late before.
He's never been late
before. He's never been late before.
Correct. Why do large organizations need a department to deal solely with administration? Why do large organizations need a department to deal solely with administration? Large organizations
need a department to deal with solely with administration
because
they're complex and difficult to coordinate effectively.
What do we mean if we describe somebody as clumsy? What do we mean if we describe somebody as clumsy? If we describe somebody as clumsy,
we mean that they often drop things
or bump into things either because
they are naturally uncoordinated
or because
they're careless.
Okay.
May I confirm? They are actually naturally uncoordinated.
Naturally uncoordinated
or because they're careless. Thank you.
All right, so that's it for the daily revision. Let's do the new work. Repeat. Aid.
Affluent.
Okay, Okay, listen. Affluent is an adjective. It means having wealth of different forms, such as money, jewels, etc. For example, some affluent nations in the world are United Kingdom, Australia, and the United States of America. Aid is a noun. It's a kind of help given those in need, such as financial aid, health aid, etc. For example, I think poor countries should receive more financial aid from affluent nations. As practice, do you think poor countries should receive more financial aid from affluent nations? Do you think poor countries should receive more financial aid from affluent nations? Yes, no.
Yes.
I think
poor countries
should receive more
financial aid
from
affluent nations.
Repeat. Sip.
Sip.
Gulp.
Gulp.
Listen. Sip is a verb. It means to drink slowly with small amounts at a time. For example, she sat sipping coffee. Gulp is a verb. It means to swallow, like a drink or food quickly in large amounts. For example, we don't gulp a hot drink down because we might hurt our mouth and tongue when doing so. Let's practice. Why do we sip a hot drink rather than gulp it down? Why do we sip a hot drink rather than gulp it down? We sip
a hot drink rather than gulp it down
because
we avoid wounds to the throat and mouth.
Okay, good. Repeat. Breed.
Breed.
Okay, listen. Breed is a noun. It is a sort or kind of animal. For example, there are breeds of dogs which are big, and there are breeds of dogs which are small. Therefore, there is a great variety in terms of size between different breeds of dogs. Let's practice. Is there a great variety in terms of size between different breeds of dogs? Is there a great variety in terms of size between different breeds of dogs? Yes.
Yes.
There is great variety.
A great variety
in terms of
size between different breeds of dog.
Repeat. Smuggle.
Smuggle.
Drug.
Drug.
Heroin.
Heroin.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Okay, listen. Drug is a noun. It's a substance that is used as a medicine or sometimes taken illegally for pleasure. For example, drug companies produce drugs for use in medical treatments. Heroin is a noun. It's a kind of drug used to relieve the and is very addictive when used in large amounts. Cocaine is a noun. It is a kind of substance which can be found on certain plants, which are mainly used to relieve the pain and is also addictive when used in large amounts. For example, taking heroin or cocaine for pleasure is illegal. They should only be used with doctor's advice and in limited amounts. Smuggle is a verb. By smuggling, we mean taking something into or out of a country illegally. For example, it is considered a very serious offense to smuggle drugs such as heroin and cocaine into my country. Let's practice. What do we mean by smuggling? What do we mean by smuggling? By smuggling, we mean taking something into or out of a country illegally. Is it considered very serious offense to smuggle drugs such as heroin and cocaine into your country? Is it considered a very serious offense to smuggle drugs such as heroin and cocaine into your country? Yes. It's considered
a very serious offense
to smuggle drugs
such as heroin and cocaine into my country.
What do we mean by a drug company? What do we mean by a drug company? By a drug company, we mean a company that produces drugs for use in medical treatments. Repeat. Very equals exact.
Very equals exact.
Very good. Listen. Very or the word very can mean exact or extreme. For example, you're the very person I'm looking for.
Wow.
You're the exact person I'm looking for. The car was parked at the very end of the street or extremely end of the street. Let's practice. Give me a sentence with the word very in it used with the meaning of exact or extreme. Give me a sentence with the word very in it with the meaning of exact or extreme. You're the very person,
you are the very person I'm looking for.
The car was parked
at the very end of the street.
Repeat. One by one.
One by one.
One at a time.
One at a time.
Very good. Listen, one by one is an adverb. It means separately or one after another. One at a time is an adverb. It's the synonym of one by one. For example, when we say that a man fought his enemies one by one, we mean he fought his enemies one at a time, not all together. Let's practice.
Okay.
What do we mean when we say that a man fought his enemies one by one? What do we mean when we say that a man fought his enemies one by one? When we say
that a man fought his enemies one by one,
we mean
he fought his enemies
one at
a time,
not all together. Repeat. Oh, next is actually a word building exercise.
Okay. I'm opening. Wait a minute. Copy my
Sure, please go to 1155, please.
Okay. 55. と okay, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, but we have 5 minutes. So would you like to do the reading in the next 5 minutes?
Which do you want to?
I'm fine with both. So I'm giving you the freedom. Which do you like? Would you like to do the reading or continue word building exercise?
Okay. I choose reading part.
Sure. Yes, please. So I'd like to confirm your reading progress is already stage 12 as well, but 1124. The last word was Chief Executive Officer or CEO.
Okay.
Yeah, and your last teacher noted you can start. What does the abbreviation CEO stand for? Can you start?
Okay. Max Nata. What does the abbreviation CEO stand for? The abbreviation CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. Would you like to be the CEO of a large international business organization? Yes, I'd like to be the CEO of a large international business organization. Why? Because I can accelerate the time to achieve my ambition to increase personal assets to more than 1 billion yen.
Good.
Thank you. Out of sight, inside. What does the expression out of sight, out of mind mean? The expression out of sight, out of mind means that sometimes when we don't see a person or thing for a while, we forget about them. What's the opposite of saying the ship was out of sight? The opposite of saying the ship was out of sight is the ship was inside. Take seriously. If somebody takes everything in life too seriously, can they end up suffering from high levels of stress? Yes. If somebody takes everything in life too seriously, they can end up suffering from high levels of stress. Sigh. When do people sigh? People sigh when they're tired, impatient, sad, or unhappy. Vanish. Mysterious. What do the police have to do when someone vanishes in mysterious circumstances? When someone vanishes in mysterious circumstances, the police have to investigate the disappearance in order to find out whether a crime has occurred. Ridiculous. What's the most ridiculous present anyone's ever given you? The most ridiculous present someone's given me is a large amount of canned food that has expired from my mother.
Okay. Funny.
Yes. Get away with fraud.
Fraud.
Fraud. Thank you. What proportion of people do you think would be willing to commit to financial fraud if they knew they were guaranteed to get away with it? I think a large proportion of people would be willing to commit to financial fraud if they knew they were guaranteed to get away with it. Assemble. Does this class always assemble in the same room? Yes, this class always assembles in the same room. What are the advantages of buying furniture that you assemble at home as opposed to ready-made furniture? The advantages of buying furniture that you assemble at home as opposed to ready-made furniture are that the furniture is usually cheaper and easier to transport. Go with dress sense. Does the person with poor dress sense tend to choose clothes that don't go with one another? Yes, a person with poor dress sense tends to choose clothes that don't go with one another. A studio flat, bed seat, tenant. What do you mean by a recording studio and a TV studio? By a recording studio and a TV studio, we mean the places where music and TV programs are recorded. What's the principal difference between a bed seat and a studio flat? The principal difference between a bed seat and a studio flat is that the tenant in the bed seat shares a bathroom with other people in the building, whereas the tenant in the studio flat has their own bathroom.
Okay, so I think we can stop it there. Very good progress today.
Thank you.
So, for now, your progress would be this one. Stage 12, 1054, one at a time was your last word. And then for the reading, stage 12, 1126, tenant. So for the new work, you can start with a word building exercise. And for the reading, you can start at already 1127.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for understanding my request today.
No problem. See you.
Salama. ということで、すごく好きでお気に入りの先生、ソフィア先生だけども、とても人気者でなかなか予約を取ることができない先生と、今日たまたま予約取ることができたので、動画にしました。もし質問や相談がありましたら、説明欄のコンタクトフォームから山中和志へ連絡していただけます。今回も動画のご視聴ありがとうございます。それではまた。